Hello, I am taking on a challenge to beat every playable Nintendo published game. Welcome to the next episode. The next game is Game & Watch Lifeboat. Game & Watch Lifeboat was the 8th game released in the multi-screen series, and this one was the last game in the multi-screen series to be oriented horizontally. There's not much else introductory to say here, other than to enjoy the box art of the game. You are playing as a pretty generic looking guy in this one, and, coincidentally, you are once again tugging on a rope like in the last one. The guys in the boat have minimal details, but for some reason, the one in the front has a massive nose. In this one, you play as two guys on opposite ends of some kind of body of water. You are rescuing a bunch of people trying to escape a large burning ship. You are doing this by manually moving two lifeboats from shore to shore by tugging on a rope attached to the boats. While I doubt rowing back and forth would be particularly fast, I can't imagine this method would actually be very effective either. The amount of strength and energy it would take to tug a bunch of boats back and forth would be pretty ridiculous. The people you are rescuing are jumping out randomly, so you have to be quick to catch them before they hit the water. Up to 4 people can fit in a single boat, so while you don't have to bring someone to shore immediately, you have to eventually drop people off to pick up more passengers. Tugging the rope moves both boats from side to side, so you have to manage both boats at once when considering when to pick up and drop off passengers. One thing that made this one interesting is that the passengers don't all get off immediately. They have to slowly shift to the edge of the boat before they get off. As things got more hectic, I found it was valuable to move to the edges as much as possible, even if it meant there was only enough time for people to shift a bit closer to the edge of the boat. Although it doesn't make much sense, you can move the boats very quickly, and the later parts of the game require you to move quickly to keep up. I really like the speed of this one. It sort of reminds me of the speed of Vermin, which is definitely a good thing. Like all the other multi-screen games, my goal is to get to 300 points in both game modes and see the lives refresh. My first run went pretty smoothly. I lost a life early on due to the sound of Mahjong suddenly playing from my NES and distracting me, and I let a guy drop into the water. Oh! I am so sorry about that. No, it's messing me up! After this though, I managed to get all the way to 300 without losing any more lives. The game does get pretty hectic as the game speeds up, but you can move the boat quick enough that I was generally able to keep up. While I continued the run to see how far I could get, it started to get pretty difficult after this, and I lost all my lives at 398 points. Next up was Game Mode B. The change in this one is simple, but boy does it make a difference. In this mode, you now only have one boat that you can move across both of the screens. While they do reduce the amount of guys you have to save to balance it out, you have to be a lot more intentional about making sure you drop guys off at the shore. In the previous mode, moving one boat to pick up the people will automatically cause the other boat to drop people off at the other shore. In this mode, you no longer have the luxury to let people off automatically. An interesting side effect of this new setup was that sometimes it was better to visit one shore over the other depending on which edge of the boat the people were closer to, even if that shore was a bit further away. Anyway, while this mode was a bit harder, I managed to get to 300 points on my first try. It was a bit closer this time though, as I lost 2 of my lives before making it to 300. I kept going, but my run in Game Mode B ended at 366 points. With that, Game & Watch Lifeboat was complete. On to the review. As far as Game & Watch games go, this is one of my more favorite ones. It's pretty fast-paced, which I always prefer, and I like that both of the game modes felt pretty different from one another. Of course, it's still a simple high-score chaser that gets old pretty quick, so it still sits comfortably at a 6 out of 10 for me, like most of the Game & Watch games. Thanks for watching the video. If you want to see more of these in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss out on the next one. Also leave a like if you enjoyed it, since it will help the channel grow and motivate me to continue this series. I hope I will see you in the next step of my quest to beat every Nintendo game.